Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we're going to do a card using designer series paper or pattern paper and just a sentiment. We are starting with a card base, so whatever your standard size card base is. A piece of black for your mat, and that is going to be 1/4 of an inch smaller. And then we have got some designer series paper. Now this is the gorgeous, let me just get the pack out so I can show you some of it. It is the Gilded Autumn Speciality Designer Series paper. Quite a mouthful, but we are now into September, which is autumn and all of the lovely autumn leaves. This paper will cut out with the little autumn trio punch. We'll cut out the little acorns and things. You've got lovely patterns on both sides, lots of different ones. And although in the UK we don't really celebrate Halloween, pumpkins and gourds and things, I grow pumpkins and squash, and they're all starting to come at the moment. So I thought we would use this lovely paper and make a beautiful autumn card. Now the nice thing about the paper is that obviously it's got two sides. So I thought that we would do one side and one the other. So this again is 1/4 of an inch smaller. However, the pieces that we're going to put on there means we don't have to use all of it. We can cut it down and save some of it for another card. So the pieces that we're working on the top are going to measure, for me, they are, let me just measure it down here. So we have 3.5 inches. So this is 3.5 inches square, which will fit perfectly in on there. And this is the brushed metallics. Then we've got a black piece, which is 3.25 inches. And that's going to come in on here. So 1/4 of an inch smaller. And then the piece on here is 3 by 3. So that's going to go in the centre on there. So you can see that it mats it beautifully, but you have a piece at the bottom with the other side of the paper. So let's start on this bit to start off with. Now with most of these I do tend to cut things out of it, so I don't like to waste things. So while I'm at it, before I mat it, I'm going to take the lovely trio autumn punches, and we've got a maple leaf, we've got an oak leaf, and we've got an acorn. And so I'm just going to push it up in, and I'm going to punch just some pieces out that I can use another time. So let's have, I think we should be able to get 3 acorns there, like that. And then we can take the maple, and I can put that round in on there, and we'll get hopefully a couple of those out. As I say, never waste the insides of your mats if it's something special. So this metallic, brushed metallic, is just beautiful. But rather than just using it as the mat and wasting it, let's do something with it as well. So I'm just punching some of the acorns, which are flying everywhere, but that's fine. And then we should just get another couple in here. I'm not being particularly precise, but all I've done is I've cut some out, which I can use at another time. So my tip for you is never waste those pieces because they're not going to show. So now we can take our little mat piece. I'm not going to do it with the black. I could do, but you get the idea. So we just need to just take some glue down on the side of here. And then we can just mat that in on here. And you can see that it looks as if it's a solid piece, but it's not because we've cut the pieces out of it. And then we can have our little 3x3, which is going to go in onto the inside. I love these colours. They are just absolutely beautiful. And I think it is Cajun Craze on this one, which is just beautiful. Okay, so that gives us our lovely little piece that we're going to put in on there. And then we're going to put this in onto this piece here. So if I look at it, I can take a piece which is going to be another 3x3 that I can use. So if I get my trimmer out and I just trim, let's trim 3¼ inches, so I can make it a 3¼ inch piece down like this. And then I have saved, so again, it's all about saving your pieces. I've now got a lovely piece like this, which I can use for something else. So I haven't wasted anything. The black, I'm not going to worry too much about. But as I say, if you wanted to cut something out of it, you could. You just need to be careful at the top. So you could cut a label or something from it. So this, I'm literally just going to glue that down onto our card base, always making sure that I know that it's opening the right way. So we can put this down on here like that. We've then got this piece to go in here, which, as I say, has a little 1/4 inch on there, and then this piece is going to go and be tucked in underneath to give that piece on there. So I can do this piece first, and we can just glue this piece in on here. So we need to make sure that we've got a nice even border in on here. Like that. And then this piece can go in on here. You could put it up with dimensionals if you want to. I'm not going to, because we're going to do something else with some of the dimensionals just to give it a little bit of extra on there. So again, just run some wet glue or whatever your preferred glue is. As you know, I've always been a wet glue person. I have tried the new Seal and the Seal Plus, but at the end of the day, for me, there's nothing like wet glue because you can get it exactly where you want it. There's a nice little space in here, and you've got this nice border coming through now on it all. Okay, so we have a sentiment which I've taken from The Beautiful Autumn, so have a beautiful day, and that is going to go in on here somewhere. However, I want to just sort of jazz it up a little bit. So what I've done is I've got another piece that in fact, the other piece that I cut out from there. And what I've done is I've started to just fussy cut out some of these pieces. So you can use all of the pieces. You don't just need to use the whole ones. So for example, here we've got a little one which is literally just a half one, because that's where the paper comes, but we can use it because if we're putting it down at the bottom of the card, it will then go into that little space. I'm just going to tuck it round like that so I can then trim it up a little bit. Little tiny weeny little squirrely bit on the top of this little squash. I say you can get such beautiful coloured pumpkins and things, and although, you know, people will carve them, pumpkins are just lovely to make, and squashes to make butternut squash, all sorts of bits and pieces and things. So I've done a few of them, but you can see that one's just cut out. So I've got a few pieces like this, And you can see these are all cut from the little bottom pieces as well as whole ones. So I wanted to make sure that I wasted absolutely nothing. So on this, I have taken one of the whole ones, and that is going to go in on the centre just to give a little bit of dimension into that piece. So let's take our dimensionals out, and I can just put just a couple in on here. So that will then give us just a little bit of dimension in on this one. So if we just sort of line it up where the little top piece comes and put it down, you then have a nice sort of dimension on there, and it doesn't detract from that lovely piece of pattern paper, designer series paper. And then these other pieces I'm going to put down, and I'm going to stick them down. You could put them up with dimensionals, but I don't want everything with dimensionals. Sometimes it's easy to, I think, over add dimensionals, and just by putting them flat, it then looks as if it's part of the actual card. So we've got one like that. I think I'll have one going in that direction. So again, just use your little pieces and add them where you want, but just down at the bottom, this one is a whole one, so that can just go up like that. We've got another little one here. So I'm just going to put this one down with maybe a little bit of a space, but you can see, because it was the edge of the paper, it actually goes perfectly right to the edge of the cardstock that we want. I've got another whole one here, so that one's going to come up over the top. I'm going to put this, I'm going to have this one, yes, I'm going to have this one, which is a tiny weeny little piece that's cut off, but it really doesn't matter, because if you've got a selection of gourds that you might have just dotted about, they would be at different heights and different angles. So put that one down, and then I'm going to have this one going through in on the top like that. And again, if you want to add some dimensionals, do so. But as I say, I quite like to have sometimes things that are just down a little bit flatter. So we'll put that one in like that. Okay, now I could put this little one in on there. Shall I add that little one in on there and have a whole row? Yes, why not? So I've got this little one here as well. But you can see how just with some pattern paper and a sentiment, you don't always need to use stamps. And particularly if you're starting out, you don't necessarily want to have, you know, be buying lots and lots and lots of things. Whereas if you buy one pack of pattern paper, you can do all sorts of things with it. Okay, so now we've got this, and this piece can go in just down like that. And I think I will put that up with dimensional. So we've got the sentiment with dimensionals, but we haven't got the other piece. Now, this is, I can put just a nice sort of strip of this down on here, like that. So again, don't ever waste your side pieces, because you can use all of those. That will just go down in. Oh, I might need a little bit more than that. That's going to go there. Have I got another piece that I can take off? Yes. I'm going to have this piece to go down on the other bit. So let's just tuck that down there. Then that should be able to come off on there, and we can put that piece down on here like that. Okay, and then we're just going to pop this in on here, and you've then made yourself a really rather pretty card. You can do this with any designer series paper you want, if there is just a little something that you can cut out. So I'm just going to do this with a right up to the edge of this piece here. Whoops, now I need to get that a little bit more centered, don't I? Let's take it out. It doesn't quite fit, so let me just make sure that I've got that centered. But I'm going to tuck it so that it comes up onto there. Can't really see with my eyesight on there. I think it's about like that. That's better. My lights make it quite difficult. Okay, so you've then got that on there. So what you've got then is a really rather pretty card, but very simply just using some massing at the background. You've got the pumpkin that stands out, and you've got these lovely little gourds and pumpkins and things down at the bottom, and it makes a very pretty autumnal card just to send to anybody. So thank you so much for watching me. As always, stay safe and stay well and be kind. Bye-bye.